So something I do for my videos is I just make notes all the time of things that I think about or learn or just realize or just random things that I think, okay, that's a little seed of an idea. I write it down on a list, and it's actually a multiple list. I actually need to consolidate them at some point. Awkward. Okay. You like the balloons in the background? When I wrote this particular note, I was feeling kind of bad about it, but I just realized something the other day. I'll link the video down below. I had a whole super emotional little talk about it. And I just came back to my list of video ideas and I read this note that I wrote and I was like, huh, now I can look at that from a different perspective. Hey, my name is Darz. Welcome here on this channel. We learn, we grow, we expand the comfort zone, and I am working towards my future dream life, trying to live in the present and enjoy the present, but also work so that my future is, honestly, now that I'm saying that, I was listening to a girl talk today about how she's lived for years, living her dream life, but she wasn't very happy until just recently. And I was like, that's a good reminder, actually, to try to just be happy with what we have, even if we're still striving for a better future. So yeah, I'm working on being happy in the now, but I'm also working towards a happy future, if that makes sense. I don't know. Anyway, so I'm just going to read you this note. I should be facing this way. Such an awkward position. I don't have a lot of great options for filming in this house. Anyway, I am sort of a copycat, which has its pros and cons. I can easily emulate things I see and hear. In marketing, it's great because I can pick up on any brand and create material that perfectly fits within the brand guidelines. In my personal life, it's a bit difficult because I tend to think and act like the people I spend the most time with, meaning I'm not so much representing my inner authentic self. I'm a chameleon. So I was feeling quite bad about this, that I just kind of, okay, I started with the pro because I was trying to make myself feel better about it. But the fact is I was feeling really bad that I just they say you act like the 5 people you spend the most time with or whatever. But I feel like I literally take on, I act like the people I'm around so much, or I speak like them, or I think like them, or I decide things like them. But turns out I have a personality type, my inner self and inner workings are just threefold, and I don't necessarily have the best bridges between each section. And so other people around me actually help bridge those gaps for me and help me realize things. So that makes total sense coming back to this. I'm really trying hard to learn who I am, accept who I am, and embody who I am. In so many ways, I've struggled to accept and embody the thoughts and feelings that I have because a lot of them go against what I grew up with, like the fact that I am divorced and I'm not yet 30. I mean, I never thought I would be divorced, but especially not this young, never was something I expected to end up doing and have to accept. My past, my younger self is still kind of inside me, looking up to myself in a way. And I just feel like I'm letting myself down a lot of times. But that's kind of a different subject anyway. But let me know in the comments if there's parts of you that I don't like. It's so hard on YouTube because people don't necessarily want to comment. I personally like one-on-one conversations, but I know that when I leave a comment on a YouTube video, and I don't even want to say this because it's going to make you think about it, but anybody can read that comment then, right? Because it's just public, it's in a public space. But disregard that. Just I want this to be a community space. I want this to be a conversation. I want this to be a space where we can talk about things. I mean, obviously you're not going to get that deep in a public comment, but I don't know, comment if you can relate, or comment if there's anything you could share about this, or if you felt like you didn't fit in, or if there's something that you've struggled to accept, or just the fact you could say yes or no, I don't know. Another thought about being a chameleon, I am super detail oriented. So again, going back to the marketing stuff, I always did proofreading for my mom at the print shop. Before she printed stuff, she would ask me to make sure there's no spelling errors, whatnot. And she obviously did it too, but just to get a second eyes on things, second pair of eyes on things. It's always good if you don't want mistakes to slip through. And yeah, I pay attention to small details. So I feel like I do that when I'm with people too. I notice how they talk. I notice how they, I'm trying to think of words. I notice how they, not position. I notice movements, hands, facial expressions. Expression? Why can I not think of words? I feel like since I soak in all these details, it's almost like then I bring them into myself too. And sometimes I'm like, man, if I could just ignore the details, sometimes I could just think who I am inside, and that would come out more so than emulating everybody that's around me. Does that make sense? And I suppose that it's in a way a Stone Age, like ingrained in us, just bone deep thing that we pick up on as humans trying to survive, because, you know, back in the tribal days, we used to have to stick together and act similar so that we wouldn't get kicked out of the tribe, or so that we wouldn't, you know, die alone. But, you know, we're in a different time now. We can let go of our old tribal, bone deep, instinctual, weird things that come up and aren't useful anymore in modern day life. Things to think about. Anyway, I like realizing things about myself and speaking about them and relating to people about them. So if you want to relate in the comments, comment, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.